want to introduce my good friend Malaya. Come on up closer a little bit. Malaya is an amazing community member who makes things that keep us alive. I mean, that's a big statement, but in a very different way, in a very elegant and nuanced way. So she works for Benevolence Orchards, or she is Benevolence Orchards. So round of applause for my good friend Malaya. Come on, sir.
Thank you. So my name is Malaya, and I'm from Benevolence Orchard and Gardens. And we're a small orchard and farm out on J Road, just east of here, not too far. We have apples, peaches, pears, plums, cherries, and nectarines that we grow in the orchard. But that's not the only thing we do there. The property is about 20 acres or so, and it gives us a lot of room to do a lot of exciting things. We practice permaculture there, and permaculture is a practice of going with nature as opposed to against it. So, for example, we have chickens that help us fertilize. We make compost there, so we don't have to bring in fertilizer from different places. And we have bees there that help us pollinate all the flowers and trees. Let's see. And what we also like to do is plant a lot of native plants and trees. That's good for all the wildlife that's here, and it supports it. Let's see. Okay, we also grow vegetables for the community and flowers and bouquets that we just allow people to walk out into the orchard and pick for themselves, which is something that is not a lot of people get the opportunity to do. So it sounds little, but it's really big when someone says, "You mean I can just go out into the orchard and pick a bouquet of flowers?" And a lot of times people will just have tears in their eyes as they're headed out there with their little vase and little scissors, you know. I enjoy it too, but I get to do it every day, and I just remember that a lot of people don't, most people don't have that opportunity. So that's really an important thing we do. We have a lot of medicinal herbs that we grow, and we make tinctures and salves and lip balms and teas and bath salts and different things that people can use to just be a little bit more self-sufficient. We teach a lot of classes to educate the community about the ways that they can be self-sufficient, and we teach people how to plant trees and how to take care of them. There's actually quite a bit of things that involves. If you just plant a tree and walk away from it, it might struggle unless it's in the right place. We like to make sure it has healthy soil by adding compost and companion plants beneath the trees. Different herbs and things like that will bring in beneficial insects and accumulate nutrients underneath the trees. You always want to put a cage around the tree and stake it and just make sure it's going to be okay when you walk away from it. Other classes that we teach are how to make compost, how to grow mushrooms, culinary mushrooms, how to preserve food, flower arranging, herbal remedies, beekeeping, and how to take care of chickens. We also show monthly movies and that somehow pertain to what we're doing on the property, different documentaries like homesteading and beekeeping or compost making, things like that. I'm kind of the farm mom, and I do a little bit of everything there. I manage the orchard, which means weeding and pruning and harvesting the fruit and flowers from the orchard. Sometimes I'm out in the field weeding the rows of vegetables that we grow, because we have a farm stand and we do a CSA every year, so we need people to work in the field. So sometimes I'm down there. Also, I do a lot of deliveries because we have relationships with chefs in town, and we provide produce to them. Also, I clean out the chicken coop, and I work in the greenhouse. We have a really big greenhouse this year. We just finished it. It's 30 by 100 feet, and it's filled with trees that we've grafted and native plants and flowers that we've started from seed, and it's a lot of fun. I'm always down there. If there's nothing else to do, I'm in there, and I'm in there after dinner until it's dark, until I go to bed, because it's just fun. I also run the farm stand that we have. We have a small farm stand there that we have like all of our products that we make, all of our vegetables and stuff like that. And it's also just a really nice little meeting place. We have an outdoor kitchen there, and we do some of our outdoor classes up there. And I do a lot of the preserving up in that kitchen. It's fun, just because it's outside. I enjoy that. Oh, okay. Yeah, we make a lot of new relationships there because we're right on the road, and so many times people will pull in and say, oh, I've driven by here 1,000 times, and today I'm finally pulling in. And so I meet a lot of people. It's really fun. We have a lot of good conversations, and we trade recipes and how certain plants are growing in their garden this year and what happened and what it might be and stuff like that. I've been a backyard gardener for about 25 years, and but I've only been working in the orchard for about 10 years with my partner. It's his project, and he was kind of working on that on his own with a small crew. And then I decided it just kind of made sense for me to liquidate my gardening business that I had going in Boulder, which was just, I was working on perennial gardens for people, and they weren't really vegetable gardens, and I wasn't really fulfilled by that. It was fun to be in the environment and help people in that way, but I wanted to do something a little bit more meaning and a little bit more food oriented and work with herbs more. So I went and worked with him a few years ago. Let's see. Well, so I graduated from Ohio State University a long time ago, but I studied anthropology, which has just always been really interesting to me. But soon after that, I fell in love with plants, and I started a little flower garden outside my apartment window, and that's what got me really excited about growing plants. A normal work day for me consists of a little bit of everything. I just mentioned to you, just depending on what time of the season it is. In the winter, if there's not too much to do, if there's like snow on the ground like right now, we're planning for the upcoming season. We're planting seeds in the greenhouse, or we're working on the tractors in the barn to make sure they're functional for the next season. Maybe doing some design work for some new planting areas in the orchard. Harvesting mushrooms in the orchard because we grow them in shipping containers, and that's a non-stop process no matter what season it is. So always doing mushrooms. We're always fixing fences because the wind out here is crazy, and wind is always blowing down the fences, or deer push the fences down, stuff like that. Or I'm interviewing people for the crew for the next upcoming season. We have a seasonal crew that comes in, and they're usually younger people that are like traveling, and they're kind of transient. So usually we get a new crew every season. So basically my skill set is it's really versatile, and it's creative. I do a little bit of everything, as I mentioned to you. I'm never in one place for too long, because there's just always something. Someone's calling, hey Malaya, can you do this? Or we're short over here, or can you do that? And my answer is always yes, because I like to move around a lot and just be doing a little bit of everything. And then I kind of am able to keep my finger on the pulse of everything that's going on the property too. It's about 20 acres, I think I mentioned, and it's a lot of land to keep track of. And we've got the bees in the west, and we've got the chickens in the south, and then the orchard we've got more chickens, and in the orchard we've got about 250 fruit trees. And as I mentioned, it's not just trees. We have a bunch of herbs and flowers that grow underneath all of the trees, and then we have to mow the orchard sometimes in between the rows. So it's a lot of work constantly, and I love it. I started this career because I fell in love with plants, and kind of by accident. Many years ago, I had a neighbor who had a small flower garden outside her window at the apartments where we lived, and oops, wait a second. Oh, I was interested in what she was doing, and so I started just growing some flower seeds in my own house, and I was like, oh, I just want to see if I can do it. And I just started a few flower seeds in my apartment, and they took off, and it was thrilling for me. And so I planted my own little garden outside my window, and I got really excited about it. And from that, I realized that I really wanted to be a gardener for other people, so they could have gardens. Even if they didn't have time to have a garden, I could help them with that and do the weeding and stuff like that, and they could enjoy it anyways. So, okay. Well, I got really busy with that, and I decided I wanted to, be someone's gardener, well, many people's gardener, and I just started to get obsessed with it. And I realized that there's so much to learn, and you just never really learn everything that there is to learn about that. And that's really what excites me as well. I'm also a foodie. I really love to eat good food, and I like to have confidence in the food I'm eating. I like to know where it has come from and what it's been subjected to, and that's really one of our passions on the property is we don't spray any pesticides. It's permaculture that we practice there, and it's organic. We're not certified organic, but we don't spray anything. We use our own compost and fertilizers, so anything that comes from the property, we know that it's safe to eat, and that's really important for us. Let me see. Okay, we were talking about, or I was going to mention the salary. That's kind of hard to pinpoint because as far as the salary goes, it depends on like what you're producing on the property and how big your property is, and we really like to diversify what we're doing on the property and not just have one thing. Like if you just have vegetables growing in the field and you get some hail, or you don't, or there's too much rain and you get flooded, or some sort of natural interaction or interference, you could lose your crops and then you don't have anything left. So what we really like to do is diversify. That's why we have the chickens, that's why we have the bees, we do the mushrooms, so we have other things to fall back on. We have the stuff that we produce there, and that's kind of like, not only do we want to just have extra things like to offer people, but it also is a safety net for us. We don't just have the field to rely on. So I would say like people could earn it anywhere from like $35,000 to maybe $70,000 to more. I mean, it just depends on what you produce and how much land you have. We always encourage people to come and volunteer if they're interested in what we're doing there, and they can kind of see what things are like on a daily basis. We love having volunteers, and a lot of times we'll hire the people that we have for volunteers for a position on the property if they're interested. But as far as education-wise, there are so many documentaries that people can watch at home and studying on their own, orchard work. Classes in college would be like horticulture or botany. And maybe a business class, just so you kind of know how to run things behind the scenes, because the financial part has to be taken care of as well. It's not always as fun, but you have to know how to do that too. If I were to do anything differently, I wouldn't have studied anthropology. I would have taken botany and horticulture in college just to get a little bit of a head start. I think that was kind of like a little tangent for me. I was always interested in anthropology, but my passion for so long has been the plants, and it would have been nice to have a little bit more of an understanding going into it. Let's see. Going above and beyond for us, I think, is we're really generous with what we have, because we have a lot of food in the field, and it's really cool because that's what we always feel like we have things that we can barter with other farms in the community. Like if we don't, like for instance, we don't have dairy cows, but a friend of ours who lives around the corner, she has dairy cows. So we trade her milk for mushrooms, or milk for kale, or something like that, which is just a really nice, you really feel like you're in the community when you have a small farm or orchard like what we're doing, because not everybody's doing the same thing, and we can trade, and it's nice. We have what we call a CSA. It's a community supported agriculture, and we make up a box for food for people once a week. They buy in at the beginning of the season, and then we make up a box. They come and pick it up. Sometimes people can't make it, like they've had an injury or they're sick or something like that, and like I will always go and drop off food for people, and I think that that kind of builds a relationship. You know, people see that we're not just there. I mean, we're there always on the farm working, but we can always take a few minutes and go out of our way to help someone if they can't make it to the farm, or if someone's sick, or you know, someone who is in our community that's sick or had surgery or something. I always go out of my way to take them something from the orchard and just show them that we really care about their health and their well-being and want to be there for them. So I do a lot of stuff like that. I always throw in like if someone comes into the farm stand to buy some salad mix, I always throw in like an onion or a bunch of carrots or something. Whatever we have a little bit of extra of, I always will throw that in. And people are so appreciative of that. And I always notice like no one ever does that for me when I go out to ever. You know, it's like, I mean, I get it, you know, we need to make money, but if we have something extra that I can give, I always give it just because it feels good and I like doing it. Builds good relationships with people. Our conflicts that we have on the property basically are with nature, with animals that come in, and like we have foxes and bobcats and hawks and owls, and they take our chickens, and it's really sad when that happens, because you know we raise the chickens from day one, and you know, to hold them in your hand, you can hold 3 of them in your hand when they're born. They're so funny, and they're actually acting like full-grown chickens as soon as they're born, like as soon as they hatch. They're scratching and pecking that second. They're hilarious. But you know, to raise them from that, and you know, 6 months later, like fox might come in and just take everybody out, and it happens a lot. So you know, predators are a big thing, and we have diseases that come in and attack the trees and the veg, and so you know, we have to deal with that, and it's, you know, it's stressful when you have to cut a third of an apple tree out because it's been taken over by fire blight. It's, you know, and it's 10 years old, you know, it kills you. So also like a small conflict we have is just, you know, people that want to come and work, and their idea of what it's going to be like to work on an organic farm, they're not realizing how much work it really is, and it is repetitive work. It's weeding, and it's deadheading, and it's harvesting, and it's watering, and it's, you know, doing kind of the same things every day, in addition to a lot of the fun things that we get to do. It's a lot of work, and it's kind of, you know, they get kind of, even though we tell them, you know, even though we tell them it's gonna be hot, it's gonna be a lot of work, you know, they're just not maybe expecting it a lot of times. So, I mean, not really, you know, there's not too much to complain about there, because I love how much work it is and what we do there, so I don't really have too much to complain about that way. Let's see, as far as like issues with diversity and equality, we don't have a problem with that. Anyone who wants to work there and knows it's gonna be hard work and can really like step up, they're welcome to come, if they have the passion. I have 2 kids that are like your guys' age. They're 15 and 17, and they've always worked with us, and we've hired their friends to work, and they're really good workers, and it's always been community building in that way too. It's just really fun to have the kids around. I think the best stories from Benevolence are the ones involving the wildlife. There's just, we're in a really open area, and we can see the entire sky, and then we're on Boulder Creek also. So we have a lot of bobcats and foxes, and the coyotes are always, you know, in the distance every night, and the owls every night, they're all around us, and the hawks, and we even have bear out there. So my partner sleeps out in the orchard sometimes, and he was sleeping one night, and he woke up because there was a bear cub sniffing his toe, and the mom was there too, but he was, you know, it was close, but he was okay. But yeah, just lots of wildlife, and it's just a beautiful place to be, and yeah, I mean, just interacting with the animals, it's pretty cool. And I really wouldn't change anything about it that I can think of. I just wish we had some more help. It's always nice to have people come and help, because there's so much to do, and I always feel like I haven't gotten it all done. every day, and that's what makes me get up the next day. Just a couple points. There are over 7,500 different varieties of apples in the world, which sounds crazy, but I just bought a 7-volume book set that pretty much has every apple listed in it, and it's a beautiful set, and it has like all the history and the Latin name of the apples, and it's amazing. But you know, we have about 20 different varieties on the orchard right now, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but we're striving to get 100. So yeah, that's gonna be cool. Oh yeah, we talked about the diversity, the classes. We do classes. You can go to the website and see if you're interested in any of the classes. If you're interested in volunteering at all, that it would be, you know, great to have you. Come and check out the farm stand when it opens. That'll be in the spring. And basically, I think, you know, I'm a foodie, my partner's a foodie, and we're really into being healthy and having our food help us be healthy. You know, eating the organic, raw, fresh food, and sharing that with the community. And so this is some of the stuff that we produce. These are, I just call them sweet beets. They've got like cloves and cinnamon and a little bit of sugar and cardamom and different things like that. Kind of like fall spicy type thing. We have a kimchi that I made. It's really good. I don't know if it's kind of an acquired taste, but I love it. And I probably about 4 months ago, I made this. It's been fermenting for that long. It's ready now. These are some of our eggs. There's a little feather in there. I always put a little feather in there because it's kind of cute. But all the chickens, they lay different colored eggs. And that's kind of pretty. We make mushroom salt. So it's like salt and dehydrated onions and garlic with the, I think there's chestnut and maybe lion's mane mushroom in here. We have, well, here's the honey. Brought this for you guys. You can try this, and you guys can try the kimchi if you like. I brought some spoons and forks. There's honeycomb from the hives. We have about 12 hives in the orchard right now. I always make applesauce every year. And I try to like kind of make a little variation on them because I love applesauce plain, but I call this a Hanuman applesauce because I put like Indian spices in it, like curry and stuff. It's really good. Marinara, always make marinara every year. That's like just the best. I love that. And I do preserve a lot of these things so we can keep them on the shelf. These are the mushrooms, and this is we have just a variety of, that's a pink oyster, that's an Italian, that's a king oyster, chestnut oyster, and lion's mane. Right there. Aren't they beautiful? Love mushrooms. And so we sell a lot of mushrooms, and it's a lot of fun. And we also dry the mushrooms, sell them dried like this too. And then we have some herbal products. We have just a basic hand salve. So, you know, working out in the dirt and with plants all the time, my hands are always cracked, and so that's a good thing for me. Lip balm, and we have a little face spritzer. We have a bunch of things. I just brought a few things for you guys to see. And then these bath salts. These are all herbs that are from the orchard. We just add some Epsom salt. And I think that's it. I also brought our business cards for you guys. I'll set these out, and you can take them if anybody's interested in checking this out or learning more. You can get the website from here. And I think that's it. I think that's about it.
Okay, I got a couple of questions. Maybe the kids have some questions here. But before we start, can you tell us the worst thing you've ever dropped?
Oh, well, I do drop things. I'm very clumsy, and so I'm always tripping and dropping, and I'm always carrying a lot of things at once. But probably the worst thing that happens to me is a lot of times I'll go out to check on the chickens, and I won't have a basket for the eggs because I was doing something else, and I just happened to walk by there for a minute, and I put the eggs in my pockets all the time, and then I go and do something else, and I forget they're in there, and I smash the eggs, and they're in my pockets. So that's kind of funny. I think that's probably the worst thing. You know, it's usually not too bad because we're outside, and if something drops or breaks, it's, you know, in the field or outside.
Kids, any questions here?
Do you guys have ways to connect online? Like,
Yes, yes. Okay, so our website here, you can connect through there. You can put your email up there, or you can enter your email. You can get on the website or the email list, and all of our classes are listed there. The movies that we do. We also, I forgot to mention this. Oh yeah, the movies. I did mention that. The movies are listed on there, and volunteer opportunities are listed on there. If we're hiring, that's listed on there. All the stuff. Yeah, it should be updated right now. Yeah, so you can reach out that way.
okay.
Questions, kids? Think about it.
What's your favorite crop to grow?
God, I love cabbage. I love cabbage. It's good to, I do a lot of cabbage rolls, and we do the kimchi with it. So that's it. And the tomatoes. Tomatoes. We do a lot of different varieties of tomatoes too. Yeah. Yeah.
What crop grows like best in Colorado?
You know, there are so many crops that grow really well that we have success with. We do a lot of kales, different kinds of kales and chards, and the salad greens they do really well. It's, you know, the veggies are easy to grow. That's an annual vegetable that, you know, like we're starting all the seed in the greenhouse right now, and we'll be getting those out in the field, you know, fairly soon. We also have a few hoop houses that we can grow things in, and they're sheltered there, and so they do pretty well in there because they don't have to, you know, they're not exposed to like hail, and we can control the watering in there. But yeah, all the leafy greens do well. The apple trees, the fruit trees don't do as well on the Front Range because we have huge temperature fluctuations, and a lot of times in the spring we'll get a freeze after they've already started to blossom. And if they blossom and it freezes before they're pollinated, then we're not gonna have fruit that year. And that's really bad for us because we wait for the whole entire year to get that fruit off those trees. And so, yeah, so that's another reason it's good to diversify. Anything else?
How do you grow mushrooms?
Well, we take samples from a mushroom, and then we can grow it out on a petri dish, and then we inoculate a grain with it, and then we use the grain to inoculate a medium, which would be like hardwood or soy pellets, and then it goes into a storage container, and then it starts to pin. We call it pinning. So like when it starts to fruit out a little bit, then we take it into another growing room, which has different conditions, and it's all controlled with temperature and humidity. And then that's when they start. We cut open the bags at that point, and then the plastic bags that they're growing in, and then they start to fruit in there. So it takes anywhere from like 10 to 3 months for us to get 10 days to 3 months for us to get mushrooms once they're in the first fruiting room, because different mushrooms grow in different mediums. Like shiitakes, they take like 2 months or 2 to 3 months to fruit, but the oysters is like 12 days. So they're all different, and it's a lot of fun to learn about each one of those as well. They all look different, taste differently, and cook differently, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's a whole world in and of itself. It's really fun. Yeah.
Tell us about organic, because you grow organically, but you're not certified organic. Can you explain that?
Yeah, we're not certified organic. We just don't use any pesticides. I mean, we use our own fertilizers that we just, you know, we have compost piles, and we make compost tea on the property also. And the compost tea is, it's it's kind of like, I love making compost because it's like baking and cooking. You know, you're building soil. It's kind of fun. But we have we also have a worm bin on the property. It's a big wooden box. It's called vermiculture, and we have worms in there that make the compost for us. We just feed them like food scraps and things like that. Then they make soil, and we add that to our compost and add that to our soil as well. It's kind of fun. They're called, we call them red wigglers. They're only about this long. They're really small. They're not like the big earthworms. They're really small and they're red. Oh, thousands. Yeah, they're really cool. And it's kind of fun. Yeah, you just open the bin and they're all, you know, wriggling everywhere, just eating all the compost and stuff. So, yeah.
Do you guys name your animals?
You know, yes. I don't as much as I used to. If there's something, you know, if there's something that really makes them stick out, then yeah, I always name them. But it's kind of hard, you know. We don't butcher any of the animals that we have, or the chickens. We just have them for eggs. Because you have meat birds and then you have layers, and we just have layers. But yeah, you know, when we have catastrophic things like wildlife come in and take them, you know, I don't get as attached to them as I used to in the beginning, just because of that, because I don't have any control over like, unforeseen things like that. But yeah, sometimes I do. We have a lot of cats on the farm. The cats keep down. We have different little rodents that eat the roots of the trees and stuff like that. So, thank you. So the cats are really good mouse catchers and vole catchers.
She's got the world's prettiest cat.
Moon.
No, Mufasa.
Oh, Mufasa, yeah.
That cat is
Oh,
amazing.
yeah. Yeah, he's really funny. Yeah, we have lots. We have 7 cats total. But yeah, yeah, they're good. They're good to have.
That must be a lot of meowing.
It is, and they're friendly and funny, and they keep us company, and they do a good job on the property. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, hey, listen, I want to thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
And we're an honor to have you. I'm going to come over and stand next to
Thank
you.
you.
So really appreciate you coming. And we're learning a lot about where our food comes from and the complexity of a properly raised food. Pretty amazing. So let's have a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you.